All right, what's up, everybody? I am Aidan Nugent here with Matt Rooney
Let's go.
for Triple Threat Takes, and we're going to be doing a little podcast today about the Damian Lillard rumors. And then at the end of the little podcast, we're going to do a little hoops hindsight and go into the trade that eventually netted Portland Damian Lillard. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it off to Matt.
Let's go.
Let's get cooking.
Awesome. Thanks, Aiden. My man. All right. So big news this past week. It's been kind of a long time coming, but Damian Lillard finally demanding a trade, requesting a trade, whatever you want to say. So basically you want to talk timeline first? Kind of what went down,
Yeah,
how it happened?
weird
All right.
timeline.
So
Weird.
basically last Monday, there were all those tweets about Dame meeting with the Portland brass, him and his agent. And they were going to sort of figure out how to move forward. And if I can remember correctly, I think reports came out that the two sides would actually try to work together to win in Portland. I correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like those were the initial reports out of that meeting. And then fast forward a couple days later, Jeremy Grant signs a huge extension on Friday. Trade request officially comes out on Saturday. So yeah, kind of weird timing to all this. Lillard finally asking out. What are your thoughts on that? Why do you wait
Yeah,
all these years? Why was this the time?
it's weird. Like the Blazers draft Scoot, no trade request. They signed Jeremy Grant, nothing. And then the day after that, um, we finally find out that Dame requested a trade, and I initially thought he was going to give them like the whole off season to try and build a team, competitive roster around him, but it's just weird because now Portland's like stuck with a big
Grant.
Jeremy Grant
Yeah.
contract. Obviously lucked out getting Scoot, being able to build for the future, but like Scoot's timeline and Jeremy Grant making like 180 million just doesn't work together. So it's a little confusing.
Love Grant is like a fourth option, fifth option. Fourth option will be
Yeah, like great
favorable.
fourth option.
Do you think Do you think Dame was like, all right, don't get Scoot. If you draft Scoot, then I'm gonna want out? Like, and the Blazers were just like, no, we're going with Scoot. And then that's why this came out. Like, do you think the point guard clash had anything to
Yeah,
do with
maybe
it?
once they
Officially took
I don't
him.
know if they kicked the tires on. I think they did on trading the third pick, and they just couldn't get anything valuable
Yeah.
enough. But if he did actually wait until after all that, and he's like, and he told them to sign Grant,
Yeah,
that's just a
that's
little
that's the big one. Like, did he I mean, it could kind of go either way though. Maybe Portland was like, keep this on the low, Dame. Like, we want Grant back. He's not going to sign back here unless, like, if you have demanded
yeah,
a trade and stuff like that, or or Dame's like, I'm going to screw you guys over. Wait till you pay this huge contract to try to win now, and then ask out. Just weird stuff. Weird stuff.
yeah. I feel like they had to be in communication about that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's always interesting to kind of know like what goes into the conversations between players and GM? Like, is it super fluid? Like last year, you remember the whole Monty Williams, DeAndre Ayton in the Suns stuff, where Ayton basically just like apparently didn't talk to them for like 3 months, the whole summer.
Yeah,
Is that seems not normal, but like who the hell knows?
really odd. But yeah, do you want to transition on to the next point?
Hell yeah. So Lillard wants to go to Miami. That has been made super clear. He wants to play with Jimmy and Bam. So Portland kind of faces a bit of a dilemma here. Do they give Lillard, who's been loyal for 10 years, given Portland all he's had for the last 10 years, do they kind of reward that, give him what he wants, send him to Miami, even though that's not the best package? Or do they do what's best for themselves and explore kind of all of what's out there? Like, what would you do if you were Portland? What should they do?
Yeah, if I'm Portland, obviously value Dame highly and you want to do what's best for him, but at the same time, it's a business and you can't just give your
Yeah.
best asset and arguably top 10 NBA player in this league away for pieces that you don't value nearly as high as Dame. So the Heat package on its own is definitely not enough to even entice me if I'm Portland. I like the only way he's going to Miami is if there's a third team involved
Like
that
Hero gives
can take
gives them all.
Hero that values Hero higher than Portland does and give you something that you think you can build on and can fit with Scoot. Um, and there was a quote from Chris Haynes on Twitter saying that
Ooh, let's hear it.
players are watching how the Blazers are going to treat Dame. I think that's what Haynes said. I think the Blazers should look into how they're going to get him to Miami, but also figure out how they can get the best package. So kind of just like juggling, like figuring out a way how they can do what's
Yeah.
best for him and do what's best for the franchise. Obviously, if you had to pick one, if I'm Portland, I'm doing what's best for myself. What do you think?
Yeah, dude, it's tough. Like, I mean, Portland obviously not known as a free agent destination at all. So, like, does it even matter?
Yeah,
Like, I don't. You remember that Evan Turner deal way back, or this Jeremy Grant? Like, they got to pay a fucking boatload
yeah, they're
to,
not building through free
to
agency.
get these guys. But yeah, obviously, got to keep that in mind if you're Portland. You don't want to just send Dame to the Charlotte Hornets or whatever. Some like just
Yeah,
throw them away there. But it's tough. It's tough because I feel like you have no interest in Tyler Hero if you're Portland because big contract. You already have a ton of guards. Simons,
would
Sharp,
even start
Scoot.
like
Yeah, like Hero would be like I'd probably rather have the other three guys than Hero, or at
yeah, you want to
least
develop Sharp more.
Scoot and Sharp.
Three.
Hero cannot play the three. Maybe Sharp can. I have no idea. Doubt it. So yeah, it's it's a it's a tough one. What what are some other possible? So you read the Haynes tweet about kind of balancing what Lillard wants and what Portland wants. So what are some like possible destinations that you can think of that would fulfill that? I mean, it's tough. It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, obviously he or Dame has expressed his interest in Miami and like pretty much only Miami.
Yeah.
Obviously, I
Little
think
Brooklyn.
yeah, a little bit of Brooklyn maybe. I think Boston would be a good fit. Um, like contend championship wise, I think it would be a really good fit because we've seen how Boston's key struggle is finishing games out. And
Late game offense. Yeah.
that's why Boston's had so many long series. Just haven't been able to close series out. So I think it would actually do Dame well to come to Boston, and if he ends up fixing those late game troubles that Boston's been having, he looks like a real hero there, and
It's true.
he can take a lot of the
Legacy.
credit for fixing Boston.
Yeah. Would you, if you're the Celtics, is Jalen off the table for that? Like, is it a Brogdon, Rob
Yeah,
Will, 3 firsts, 2 swaps type of package?
yeah, I think they're keeping Jalen off the table in any Dame trade. I probably would do the same.
I mean, that's a better package than what Miami can give. Like Robert Williams can be a long-term starting center if he can stay
Yeah,
healthy. You can flip Brogdon somewhere else. Like the Clippers have interest. Some contending team will take Brogdon on for some type of asset, I imagine.
100%.
So yeah, that's definitely better than what Miami can give.
Yeah, Dame still has 3 years and a player option on his contract, so
Dude,
he's going to be making
exactly.
like 63 million in his age 36 season. So
That's absurd. He
which is
has I
fucking
feel like
crazy.
he doesn't have leverage in this. Like I know we
Yeah,
can say Dame's going to get to Miami, but he's under contract for 4 more years. He can't really just say, I'm not going to play for you for 4 years. Like, I don't know. I feel like he's not going to Miami.
Yeah, like what a like Philly maybe could be an option.
Oh,
I heard
Philly is interesting. Are you, if you're
say
Philly, are you fine with giving Maxey and then
yeah.
obviously Harden, getting those two guys out?
There were rumors that I saw on Twitter that like Philly wouldn't be willing to give up Maxi, but I feel
Yeah,
like that's just
Windhorst.
trying to could just be trying to like drum up his value a little bit or I don't know, scare Miami.
Yeah, they'd be crazy to, I think, with Embiid where he's at right now. I think he's what, 30 years old, coming off an MVP, lots of playoff disappointments. Like, put
Yeah,
Lillard with it. Like, you
if
don't.
you're Philly, you gotta
Maxi's
go get
great,
Dame.
but you give him up for Dame 10 days out of 10.
100%.
Mm.
Um,
All right,
yeah,
you
I think
wanna?
they'd be stupid not to.
Yeah, 100%, dude. Do you want to? I'll pop through some other potential options, some trades.
Yeah,
You'll give me a yes or no from both sides. All right, man. Little game right here. All right, first one. Uh, this has been talked about a good bit. Brooklyn as a destination. So we got Lillard and Nurkic for Ben Simmons, Spencer Dinwiddie, Cam Thomas, and then 3 firsts, 2 swaps. And the first can be some combo of the Suns and Nets first, and then future swaps. Who says yeah? Who says no? Or
I
both?
don't love the players I'm getting back if I'm Brooklyn, but or if I'm Portland, but those picks could be somewhat valuable.
Suns picks in 5, 6, 7 years, dude. Those could be
I think
jackpot.
I'm doing that if I'm Portland, and if I'm Brooklyn, I'm doing this. So I think I'm doing this
Yeah.
both ways,
Because you
honestly.
keep Thomas and Bridges. I mean,
Uh, or Cam Johnson and Bridges.
Johnson and Bridges. You're
Those are
trading Cam
great
Thomas.
guys. Yeah, Bridges and Dame is like a perfect fit together.
Yeah, you got the defender, bigger sort of 2 guard.
Somebody, yeah, it's like a two guard who's like Dame, who like just complements him perfectly. A good shooter too.
Yeah, it doesn't really need the ball
Slasher,
a
cutter.
ton.
Doesn't
That's a
need the
good point.
ball.
Is Brooklyn Would Brooklyn contend with that team? So it's
I think they
Claxton,
need.
Lillard, Bridges, and Cam Johnson.
I think
First round.
that makes them like top four, top three in these, right up there with maybe just like a level below Boston,
Yeah.
Miami, Philly, maybe, and then right. I think that puts them right around Cleveland level. So they need like one more piece to contend, but I think that sets them up in the right direction.
All right, let's go. We got a win-win. I don't mind. Like, why not try for Simmons? Like, see if you can revive his
Yeah,
career if you're Portland. Like, you're not going to be good for a while. He's not a guard. He's not blocking those guys like we said Hero might. Like, maybe with the little pressure he'd face in Portland, maybe he kind of revives himself a bit.
he's been in the gym.
He's
I
been,
get that
yeah,
every
those
offseason.
photoshopped video.
Those gym videos.
He's summer gym video king, I feel like.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I would actually. That's a good point. I would like that for Simmons.
Because yeah,
One last,
zero pressure.
one last shot.
Exactly. Can't do it in Portland, you're done.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's move on to the next. We'll see if we get another yes, yes. So this is an interesting one I've been thinking about for a bit. I'm not totally sure about it, but it's with Toronto. Bit of a shocker. Toronto's not they're probably what, 8th, 9th, 10th kind of play-in
Yeah.
area right now. All right, so hear me out. OG Anunoby, Chris Boucher, Thad Young, 3 first and 2 swaps for Dame. Who says
Yeah.
yeah? Who says no?
I'm in. I'm in both ways.
Oh, let's go. We're 2 for 2 here.
For Toronto, obviously, you're getting that. We've talked about Dame and what he could bring to the table for them. They need kind of that star piece scorer. Because Siakam is a good scorer, but he's not totally like a
Exactly.
3 level scorer. Is super like a can go win games for you in the playoffs. And
He's like a
for
post scorer. I feel like get it on the
yeah, for
range
Portland,
post.
you're getting those swaps and picks, which are huge. And then OG is a even if you want to trade him,
Could get 2-3 more first, right?
yeah, you got a bunch of first for him, or if you see him fitting in with Scoot, I think he'd be a decent fit there. He's a really good defender. He can shoot. And I feel like him being in Portland would allow him to expand his offensive game a little bit with less pressure.
The only
Yeah,
negative with that is I think OG's a upcoming free agent
oh, is he?
after next season. So I don't know if that dampens it
Yeah,
because
if you're
you're
signing
gonna have to pay
Durant,
him. I imagine you'll have to pay him a lot.
you maybe just have to move him.
Move him at the deadline or whatever and get
Yeah,
what you can. I still like it. I
that's
still like
another
it for
good,
them.
really good asset to have.
Yeah, you remember this past year, I feel like the Pelicans and the Grizzlies were trying to do whatever the hell they could to get it.
I was saying the Grizz should go after him. Yeah, be a good fit there.
Yeah, replace that Dylan Brooks. All right, yeah. So that's number 2. So we got 2 yeses. Let's see. Let's see
I
about
know.
number 3.
Surprise.
All right. This one's a bit interesting. So Pelicans. So we got CJ McCollum, just for salary purposes. Kind of weird sending him back to Portland, but he's got to be in the deal. Kira Lewis. And then I think this next guy you like a lot, Trey Murphy. And then 3 first-round picks for Dame. So it gets you a legit big 3 if you're the Pelicans. Although issues all around, health issues, Lillard age issues. So what do you do?
That'd be an interesting big 3.
Keep Herb Jones.
Yeah, you do keep Herb. Murphy, obviously I love Trey Murphy too. He's a great, great up and coming.
What a player to have, yeah.
Yeah, that's the guy I would like in Portland. Then you got those swaps down the line.
Could be kind of weird taking CJ back. You may
It
have to
is
trade him
definitely
out.
weird doing CJ, but yeah, I think I like it for both sides again.
Oh my gosh, we are cooking. We're cooking. I think if I'm Portland, what I would try to do is, so if you're getting these, you get the gauntlet of picks, obviously, but you should also target some sort of athletic wing, someone who can play the 3, maybe the 4 type of young player. So obviously Brooklyn, we said Simmons. I mean, he's kind of that guy, but the picks are the real value in that one. The Toronto one, you get OG, so you can either flip him, as we said, or he fits well with the young guards they do have. And then Trey Murphy as well. That's kind of.
Yeah, and then Portland, they kind of have like, so after trading Dame, I don't know what they're going to want to do with Simons. Does he have like do you know how big his contract is right now?
Oh, he does not have a.
Is he still on a rookie deal?
Not good. No, he's on a big one.
Because him and Scoot are both like undersized guards. Scoot's like jacked, but
I feel
6'2", like.
I feel like Simons is best used as like a 6-man. I don't know. He's almost too good for that role, but like, do you really want a 6'3" starting shooting guard who doesn't play defense?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like they could look to trade him too, maybe.
Yeah, at some point, and just go Scoot Sharp as that background or backcourt.
Yeah, Scoot Sharp.
Boom. Awesome. All right, we got 3 yeses. Let's let's wrap this segment up, but who knows what the hell happens. What do you think? If you were to guess right now, what happens with Dame? How soon is it?
I think it happens somewhat soon, and I think they find a way to get him to Miami in a 3-team deal.
3-teamer. Yeah.
Yeah. Sadly, honestly. That would be a fun fit though. Him and as a Celtics fan, it wouldn't be fun, but
dude, it would be interesting because I feel like the Heat would be totally different than what they were last year. Like, I feel like they had a
Yeah.
ton of like scrappy guys. Vincent Strus, Caleb Martin might get traded in this deal. Like,
Mhm.
a ton of those guys would be gone. Lowry. It would literally just be Jimmy, Bam, Lillard, and then we'll
Smith.
see. Highsmith, our boy Highsmith. And then minimum, like, it's tough the
Yeah,
longer
no signs
goes
about Hawkes too.
for Miami. Hawkes, he might be in it though.
Oh, yeah, they can't trade him though now for like next 27 days. But yeah, so it'd have to be after.
Oh, you're right. I guess they could come to some agreement on principle or whatever. But
Yeah.
anyways, I just gotta wait and see what happens. All right, what is up, everybody? We are back with some hoops hindsight right now. Gonna go over the original Damian Lillard trade back in 2012. So most of you probably, or some of you probably don't even know about this. But this trade was kind of, it gets forgotten a bit, at least on the Nets side, because of the absolute disaster Celtics Nets Paul Pierce KG trade that basically destroyed the Nets for the next 8-9 years. They kind of just recovered a couple years back from that. So yeah, let's get into it. So let's flash back to the 2011-12 season. It was the lockout season, actually, shortened season. And the Nets were kind of in an interesting place. They traded for Deron Williams the previous season, who was a superstar point guard at the time, one of the best in the league, probably the second best point guard after Chris Paul. At that point, because Curry wasn't Curry yet. And yeah, I think Rondo not at that level. So yeah, he was probably up there with Chris as the top dog. So really good player, and he was a upcoming free agent at the end of the 2011-2012 season. So the Nets, who just gave up a good bit for him to Utah the season before, felt pressure obviously to pair him with more talent to help keep him, essentially. And the Nets weren't that good. They were coming off I think a 12-70 season 2 years before, had basically 20 wins the year before. So they were not a good team. They were not like one piece away. So they really had to kind of make some damage to keep Deron Williams. And so I was doing some reading up on this the other day, but basically in that 2011-12 season, they actually tried to trade for Dwight Howard first. He was the kind of original prize that they wanted to, who is also actually an upcoming free agent, but pairing him and Deron Williams, they thought you have the arguably best duo in the league, probably beside what was going on down in Miami with LeBron and Wade. And that was target number one. And interestingly enough, actually, when they tried to grab Dwight, it was a 3-team trade with Orlando, the New Jersey Nets, and Portland. And Gerald Wallace was actually involved in that trade. He was going to go to Orlando along with Brooke Lopez and some picks. So super interesting. We'll get to it in a bit, but yeah. So basically, that ended up falling through, as we know. Dwight played out that year with the Magic. So yeah, so Dwight was traded to the Lakers in what was kind of a sign and trade at the time. But yeah, so let's get back to the season. So basically, once Dwight fell through, Portland was like, hey, we kind of still want to get off Gerald Wallace. So Brooklyn, Billy King, do you guys want him? Like, maybe he could help convince Deron Williams to stay. He was a good player. He had been an all-star the previous few seasons with, I think, Charlotte. He was good with Portland, a really solid wing. I'm trying to think of a comp for a current player, maybe like a OG Anunoby type. Yeah, something like that. He was a really good defender. Really, really good defender. But yeah, so Portland went to the Nets and were like, hey, do you guys just want Gerald Wallace? And Brooklyn was like, yeah, we do. We'll take him. And This is actually a really interesting tidbit that I'm about to say right here. So there were a bunch of reports around that time that the Nets were not big fans of the upcoming draft. And they were telling people that they thought there were only 3 legit players coming out of that draft: Anthony Davis, MKG, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, and Thomas Robinson. They were one for 3 on this, but but yeah, so basically they thought it was a 3-player draft. So they were totally fine with protecting the pick, just top 3. That's it. And so yeah, so the trade ended up being the Nets' top 3 protected pick, and then just salary filler for Gerald Wallace to the Portland Trailblazers. And Wallace was good with Brooklyn the rest of that year, or New Jersey, whatever they were at the time. He averaged 15 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, good defender, but it wasn't obviously the impact that Dwight Howard would have given them or another superstar would have given them. I think the Nets still finished the year with under 30 wins, weren't close to contending. Like, it was clear that that was kind of a stepping stone, but not sort of the move that could keep Duran in Brooklyn. So that pick that Portland got ended up being the 6th pick. So it was conveyed. And Portland, as we know, took Damian Lillard, a scoring guard out of little known Weber State. And so obviously right there, we know what Lillard became. Like, Portland absolutely won the deal. Let me just go through the top few picks in that 2012 draft. Kind of a really weird draft. So we got, starting out 1, Anthony Davis, to the then Hornets, now Pelicans. Charlotte took Michael Kidd-Gilchrist at 2. Bradley Beal went 3 to Washington. Dion Waiters 4 to Cleveland. Thomas Robinson 5th to Sacramento. Lillard 6th to Portland. Harrison Barnes 7th to the Warriors. And Terrence Ross 8th to Toronto. And so going back, clearly there are other more good players. It was not a 3-player draft. And to make things kind of even more sort of funny is that 2 of the 3 players that the Nets thought were game-changing talents were absolute busts in MKG and Thomas Robinson. Those were nightmare picks. So yeah, so you do have to give Portland credit for taking Lillard, obviously. Because yes, they got the pick, but they actually had to make the decision to draft Damian Lillard and hand their franchise over to him. So they get credit there. Gerald Wallace ended up declining real fast after that kind of solid first season with the Nets. He was there the next year and then ultimately traded to the Celtics in that Pierce KG deal. Totally kind of fell apart there and was sort of cast away. So he fell quick. So yeah, really not a great trade for the Nets at all, obviously. But if you kind of think about it, so the Nets had Deron Williams, superstar point guard. I'm not sure. I mean, they definitely don't pick Damian Lillard with the 6th pick, right? Like, they probably go what? Harrison Barnes or Terrence Ross, I'd imagine. So that trade, if you kind of factor that in, doesn't seem as lopsided as it now does. I don't know. Just spitballing here, but really interesting to think about. Obviously, the Nets did keep Deron Williams that offseason. Maybe Gerald Wallace had an impact, maybe not. But yeah, super interesting, super cool to kind of look back at sort of how Lillard came to be in Portland. And yeah, he's had a great career there the past 10, 11 years. So I guess we'll see what happens in the Dame trade 2.0, or for their sake. Hopefully Portland wins that one just as much as they won the first one. So yeah, thank you guys for listening, and we'll see what ends up happening with Dame. Appreciate it. Dude, do you want to sign us out, my man?
Yes, sir. Thank you everyone for watching. We'll be back some point soon with another podcast recapping any big trade that happens with Dame. Yeah, stay tuned. Thank you guys.